Ethereum told a different story. Its renewed share of DEX volume sat atop an already dominant DeFi base, with TVL peaking above $97.5 billion. However, even as monthly transactions on Ethereum reached all-time highs, a growing share of day-to-day activity occurred on Layer 2s, with Base alone processing more than 3.3 billion transactions YTD compared with roughly 473 million on mainnet. The Pectra hard fork reinforced this shift, bundling execution and consensus layer optimizations that further entrenched Ethereum's rollup-centric roadmap. Over the same period, average mainnet transaction fees fell from around $7.25 on January 1 to lows near 19 cents, levels not seen since early 2020, supporting mainnet standing as an ideal settlement and data availability layer. Meanwhile, BNB Chain's resurgence combined technical upgrades with renewed cultural momentum. On the protocol side, the Lorentz and Maxwell hard forks cut block times from 3 seconds to 0.75 seconds, allowing the network to better absorb bursts of activity. On the cultural side, CZ's presidential pardoning and declaration of a BNB meme SZN helped redirect speculative energy toward 4 meme, which ultimately accounted for roughly 21.8% of BNB Chain's YTD app revenue. Around this speculative core, DeFi on BNB Chain consolidated toward more traditional projects, including YZI Labs-backed Perpetuals exchange Asta, which was well positioned to capture PerpDex mindshare, and Listadeo, a staking and lending protocol that saw roughly 188% YTD TVL growth. Stablecoins were one of 2025's defining themes. More than $90 billion of net new issuance lifted the total stablecoin market cap by roughly 45%, an acceleration of about $18 billion over 2024's growth. For L1s, this surge mapped closely onto the year's dominant narratives: meme coins, perpetual futures, institutional adoption, and prediction markets. In percentage terms, Solana and Hyperliquid stood out as key beneficiaries. On Solana, stablecoin supply doubled in the first 23 days of the year as meme activity peaked, supported by roughly $4.5 billion in new USDC mints. Issuance slowed in subsequent months, but the network still recorded about 159% YTD growth, with PYUSD expanding to capture just over 7% of Solana's stablecoin float. Hyperliquid had a slower start, but all-time high perp volumes in the second half of the year helped drive roughly 118% YTD growth in its stablecoin base, tying liquidity directly to derivatives activity. Aptos and Polygon followed a more institutional path, with stablecoin supply growing by about 142% and 76% YTD, respectively. On both chains, October deployments of around $500 million of BUIDL played an outsized role, accounting for about 57% of net new issuance on Aptos and roughly 40% on Polygon. Meanwhile, the increasing importance of prediction markets meant that a daily average of around 14% of Polygon's USDC supply was locked in polymarket contracts. The proliferation of stablecoins spilled into network design itself through the emergence of stablecoin-centric L1s, or stable chains. These networks attracted more than $548 million of disclosed funding in 2025 on the promise of delivering purpose-built environments for stablecoin execution and settlement, rather than competing on breadth of functionality. Stable chains optimize around narrow but high-value use cases such as protocol-level compliance hooks, simplified fee models, or native on-chain forex. Plasma established itself as the early leader in this segment, ranking as the L1 with the 8th largest stablecoin supply less than 3 months after launch. Its adoption metrics have since fallen meaningfully from their initial peaks, with active addresses and transaction counts now a fraction of early post-launch levels. However, with Stable launching in early December, plus Circle's Arc and Stripe, Paradigm's Tempo still in testnet, it remains too early to tell whether stable chains can or will sustain durable long-term use. Stable chains were only one expression of 2025's broader shift towards specialized L1s. While newer networks may still offer general-purpose execution, they increasingly organize around a clear core differentiator, such as privacy, performance, or customizability. The result is a more segmented landscape in which users route activity through chains explicitly optimized for their specific needs. Within this shift, interest in the privacy narrative reached new highs. Monero, the longtime leader of privacy networks, became the center of controversy when Cubic, a useful proof-of-work chain, rapidly captured a large share of its hash rate, at times reportedly accounting for over half of total hashing power. Although Cubic framed its actions as benevolent, many observers viewed the episode as an economic attack, illustrating how an otherwise sovereign network can be repurposed as a captive yield engine by and for external actors.